Governments have a love-hate relationship with the mining industry, and that relationship swings from love to hate in a rather grim and predictable cycle. From the explorer's perspective, there's only a narrow window of opportunity in the early part of the cycle when a successful marriage can be made, leading to the birth of a mine. I'm making this video in English, but YouTube has recently upgraded my channel with automated AI voice dubbing in several other languages. If you'd prefer to listen in another language, just go to the gear icon for settings and the audio track item, and then select from the available languages. At present, this is only for new video uploads, but I guess in future YouTube will apply those languages to existing content and probably add some more languages as well. So let's get started with a bit of relationship counselling. This will be the condensed version for YouTube, but if you'd like a deeper dive into the drivers for the cycle and perhaps how to flatten it out a bit, then I've got a more detailed version of the video on my Geology Upskill site, and I'll put a link to that up here somewhere. When I graduated as a geologist, I really wanted to discover a new mine. And I naively thought that the most difficult part of doing that would be to find an ore deposit that was big enough with sufficient grade to be economic. I thought that if I found a deposit like that, then the rest of the development process would happen pretty much automatically. I mean, it's basically just engineering after that, right? Wrong. The biggest hurdle in getting a project from exploration idea to operating mine is actually government attitude, not geology. If the government of the country you're working in really wants mining projects to succeed, it's possible. Not easy, but possible. If the government of the day is antagonistic or even just indifferent to mining, the project will almost certainly fail somewhere along the development journey. Fortunately, government attitudes to mining change with time, so it's possible to select that fairly narrow time window when it's actually possible to discover an ore body and take it up to a successful operating mine. I first came to understand this cycle when I was working in Laos, which is a small developing nation with a communist government. But the same cycle operates in all countries, regardless of size or government system. The amplitude and wavelength of the cycle vary, but the drivers and the window for success are the same. Fortunately, each country has its own relationship cycle, and they're all out of sync across political borders. So when most countries are in bad parts of the cycle, there'll always be a few where the window of opportunity is just beginning to open. The bottom of the cycle is always marked by some kind of financial mess. A debt default, a currency crisis, a stock market crash, or all of the above. The crisis triggers a major political change. A new leader gets into power on the promise of fixing the mess. The best way to fix that kind of mess is with things that generate new money, particularly US dollars, inside the country. Oil, gas, coal, and minerals. So the new leader commands his or her administration to write a new mining law that's attractive to investors, particularly foreign investors, because most of the local investors have been wiped out in the financial crisis and most of the local expertise has left the country or moved on to other things. So the new law is written and it has the desired effect. Investors see a country with geological potential, minimal recent exploration, and an attractive law. So they pile in. Lots of money gets spent on exploration, deposits get found, and mines get developed. The mines pay lots of tax and royalties, they employ lots of local people, they buy lots of local equipment, services, and materials. That kickstarts the economy, and the government has tax revenue to spend. Everyone's happy. But one day, a competing political party or power-hungry individuals within the same party see an opportunity. They start to promote the idea that the attractive mining law is allowing foreign companies to steal national resources without paying their fair share of tax. Because that's an easy story to sell to a public that's unfamiliar with the economics of mining and has national pride built into the culture. The proponents of the narrative may or may not understand that it's a distortion of reality, but they don't care. It's a route to power. And the strategy works. Either the opposition gets into power or the incumbent government is forced to change the law to hold on to their power. So taxes, royalties and fees are increased, exploration blocks get smaller, and the terms of tenure get shorter. Requirements for local ownership are increased, and they often include some free government participation. As a result, exploration investment fades away because the costs and risks begin to outweigh the potential rewards. The death knell is usually sounded by introduction of a law that removes the right to mine concept. That right is often taken away with a piece of legislation that introduces some kind of auctioning system that sells every mineral deposit that's discovered to the highest bidder. The discoverer has the right to bid, but they're in competition with everyone else who now knows the value of the discovery. It's kind of like selling lottery tickets with a note on the back that says, if this ticket wins, we'll auction it to the highest bidder. In the next round of lotteries, you don't sell any tickets because the risk is the same, but the upside's gone. And so are the explorers. The mines cling on for a while because they're making money, often on legacy agreements with favourable conditions. But eventually they run out of ore or a commodity price crash kills the mine. When the mines close down, there's no new projects coming down the pipeline to replace them, because the explorers left the building some time ago. So the tax and royalties stop flowing. And unfortunately, while governments are really good at spending new money that comes along, they're really terrible at turning off the tap when the money supply runs dry. That inevitably leads to another financial mess, and the cycle repeats. So the window of opportunity for explorers is just after that new law has been written and, importantly, implemented. That's the time when exploration tenure can be granted on reasonable terms and the government will support genuine investment. The window's open for just a few short years, and it closes pretty soon after the first major discovery is announced. An exploration rush triggered by the announcement takes up most of the vacant ground, and from then on, the land barons move in and joint ventures get very expensive. Very few projects started after that point will ever make any money. When the first mine comes into production and starts paying tax, the window is sealed. The political rivals start to sell the theft story, and it's all downhill from there on.